All right, Algebra 2, let's practice with using the law of sines to solve triangle ABC that we're given. So I have reminded you of the law of sines over here and what that looks like, and we're going to be plugging into those true proportions in order to find what we don't know. So we are given this information that the triangle we're solving, we have angle A at 102 degrees, we have angle C given as 25 degrees, and then we have side A labeled as 31. So what we're working with here is a triangle with two known angles and one known side. So we have angle, angle, side. That means there is going to be one unique solution to this triangle, and our job is to find out the angle B measurement and the two sides that are not labeled initially. So that means B and C will need to be found. So in this triangle over here, anything that's in black is given information. Anything in red is what I've figured out in using the law of sines to solve this triangle. We'll start with finding the unknown angle. Because we are given two angles in this triangle, we can easily figure out the third triangle by remembering that all three angles in a triangle do add to 180, and that's what I'm showing here. The two known angles, 102 and 25, plus the unknown angle B will sum to 180. And then I simply solve that equation for B. 102 plus 25 is 127, so 127 plus B is 180. Subtracting 127 on both sides gives me a value of the missing angle B at 53 degrees. So I wrote it here, boxed it up. I also wrote it in the triangle just for reference, because I'll be needing to use that information in a moment as I use the law of sines. All right, my next step is to figure out one of my unknown sides. I know I have the ratio of angle A to A with values for my angle measurement as well as my A. So that's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to write this particular ratio. Sine of 102 degrees over 31 is sine of A over A. And then I'm going to choose to make that equal to, well, I know angle C. What I'm trying to figure out is the measurement of the length of the triangle opposite C, so that's going to be my variable here. So that's angle C over C. So sine of A over A is equal to sine of C over C, and I'm going to solve for my unknown. I'm going to use cross products. So this diagonal, sine of 102 degrees times C is equal to 31 times the sine of 25 degrees. That's the other diagonal. And I'm going to find the product of that other diagonal and set it equal to the product of the first diagonal. And then I solve for C, dividing both sides by sine of 102 degrees gives me C is 31 times the sine of 25 degrees over sine of 102 degrees. I'm going to put all of that in my calculator. So I'm going to multiply my calculator. I'm going to key in 31 times the sine of 25 degrees divided by sine of 102 degrees. Make sure you close your parentheses when you are entering the values for your sine functions. On my calculator, I will have on my display an irrational number, so it will have lots of digits. I'll go ahead and round off to the hundreds place, so that will mean that C is equal to 13.39, rounded off to the nearest hundredth. So I've written that in just for reference, so I can see now that I have solved my angle B and the length of C. All I have to do is figure out my B. I'm going to use my sine law again to figure out my last unknown measurement, which will be the length of B. I'm going to go back to my original sine of A over A, so that's sine of 102 degrees over 31. There's my sine of A over A. And I'm going to make that equal to sine of B over B. I figured out that angle B is 53 degrees, so there's my sine of B, sine of 53 degrees over B, what I'm trying to figure out. That's going to be the answer to that side of the triangle that I'm looking for. Now I'm going to use the cross products rule to solve this proportion. So I'm going to take the product of the diagonals and set them equal to each other. So that's going to give me B times the sine of 102 degrees is equal to 31 times the sine of 53 degrees. I'm going to divide both sides by the sine of 102 degrees and put all that in my calculator. On my calculator, I will see 25.3108 and some other digits beyond that. I'll round off to the nearest hundredth, and the side labeled B then will round off to 25.31. Now let's just check to make sure that I've found all the unknowns. So every angle now is labeled with the measurement. Every side now is labeled with the measurement. So that means I am done solving this triangle. All right, so that completes our samples for this lesson. It's time to move on to the quiz. We'll see you next time.